Hello, folks. It is Wednesday, August 9th, and I don't know what sort of gaming news there is for me to comment on in this exact section, but it isn't relevant, as it always is when I say this sort of stuff, because I'm going to expand on a topic I talked about last week, maybe, and it was the idea that I don't think we're going to notice so much a graphical change. Well, certainly there is going to be a graphical change in this next generation, or a gameplay change, in the sense that there's going to be like a new revolutionary control scheme, or there might. I'm just saying that from the onset, like right now, it's not going to be as fucking euphoric as people might think there is. I discussed as technology increases, we start to reach a point where affordability versus how cost effective it is for the company to make versus display versus all this sort of stuff. We're going to end up capping out pretty soon, if not this November, where it's just gonna be, we're gonna be there and that's it. But what I talked about last week was little things were going to be noticeable, particle effects and that sort of stuff. This week, at least this episode, I'd like to think that this is something I was thinking about while I was taking a walk yesterday, and it's that second screen experience and peripheral experience, because at least one of the consoles is designed with this in mind. It's going to give developers additional tools to work with. And I think this is going to become more and more important, but we just don't realize it yet. At least, not entirely. Now, where am I going? What am I doing? Etc., etc., etc. Let me start now. With the Xbox One, you're getting Kinect. You're getting Smart Glass, which, if you haven't used it yet, give it a try. It's available for all sorts of mobile phones and tablets, which is good. It's surprising that Windows would make an app for everything, but they want everyone to have access to it because it's a little more than just giving another remote control to your Xbox. It's going to have this later in the launch, I think, and because of this, and because Microsoft's been like, with Smart Glass you can do this and this and this and this and this, that's kind of cool. In my opinion, I haven't heard Sony say much about, we have this thing where you can take your phone and change discs and check stuff and go out of your way to make sure that you can set up a multiplayer game while you're still doing a single player game. And it seems kind of odd that convenience isn't so much Sony's goal when they've been doing nothing but appeasing gamers, even though we love convenience, which seems a little odd. Yet Microsoft seems to have streamlined convenience to Xbox On, which will turn on your TV and the Xbox. You say Xbox On, play Forza, go straight into Forza pretty much. I mean, Sony has said the PlayStation Eye will support video, voice commands, but it's kind of hard to want to confident in that technology when they haven't had much confidence in it, to the point where they aren't putting it in the box. Which I think is something that people aren't recognizing, that if you're not confident in your technology, you don't put it in the box that you're selling. You aren't giving it to everyone. Whenever you buy any sort of hardware, whatever they put in the box, they're putting it in the box because they know that it's good. At least to you. If they aren't willing to put it in the box, like right out of the gate, they aren't so confident in their own shit that they made. And that's a problem I see. Now, when you talk about second screen, a lot of games are having second screen as something to add to the game. The Division seems to be one of the better examples I've seen. Ubisoft's The Division, I should say, Tom Clancy, The Division, whatever the title ends up being. God, there's a lot of to say name these days, right? It seems to be like it has some of the most effective and interactive second screen, where if you have a tablet or a phone, you can just hop into your friends' games as a quadcopter and fly around and tag dudes and shoot dudes for them and help them. And I'm just imagining now, say your little cadre of gamers at your office or at school or whatever, and you have a day off, but somebody still has to go into work. Well, that guy, while he's at work, can just go and be helping you while the other guys are off shooting dudes. And this sort of thing also seems to be part of Battlefield with Commander mode, I think is what it's called, where it's sort of doing what Natural Selection 2, that game, what it did with its asymmetrical gameplay of a commander planning stuff and making buildings, helping them take over bases, and then two first-person armies fighting each other. It seems like a lot of games are taking that approach, and that's cool because it gives multiple layers of gameplay. Now, the other thing second-screen games are doing is they're making games cooperative without making them cooperative. And how I come to that conclusion is in Dead Rising 3, you're gonna have the ability to call in artillery strikes. Yeah, that sounds pretty freaking nifty, huh? Yeah. But that's kind of hard to pull off while you have a controller in your hand. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that as this second screen stuff becomes more common, you're gonna see people who have either a controller with like their phone attached up here, or their controller they're gonna be moving and they're gonna have this going on where the phone looks like a controller. It's gonna be driving. It's gonna be awesome. And preparing kids for driving while using their phone. Good job, everyone. And maybe someone's over and they want to help out you in Dead Rising, but they can't exactly pick up a controller for whatever reason. Either you don't have a second controller, or maybe quad mode's offline, or something like that. I don't know. But they pick up the phone. They're like, "Oh, I can set," I'm assuming that you'll be able to set stuff on a map, maybe, because that'd be nice if you could move map functionality to also being on that thing. So it's basically just you blow up the map and you pop your point on the GPS. I think that would be really cool. And in general, this sort of stuff I think is where the next gen is going to really come in, because what next gen is typically defined by is not so much what's in the game, but what makes the game exist and is around the game. Now, that seems like kind of bullshit, and it kind of is. Let me tell you why it's not. Think about this last generation. What was really the big thing that sort of defined this generation and really set the Xbox 360 on fire as the leading console? Online play. That wasn't so much a game-by-game basis, it was more the console and its support systems. Now, Xbox Live wasn't perfect on launch, it isn't perfect now, but it's the probably in general. I mean, maybe you could talk about, servers or a LAN, but it's pretty easy to link up a bunch of Xboxes and just do a lot of system link, and that is so fun. Just getting 4 Xboxes in a room with a bunch of dudes and just shooting at each other in Halo. God, some of my best experiences have been doing 4v4s. Just having stuff, killing someone, having some sail in the room, you're like, shit, I pissed someone off. And I think as this generation draws to an end, the new generation opens up. Like I said, technology that surrounds defines. So take that to heart. Consider what you have access to and how you'd like to see it modify this next generation. Think about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft, that Blizzard card game. Imagine if a company released a companion app that were to go along with the thing where you could play this game and earn stuff for the game. There's something that's already done that. Mass Effect 3. I like to see a lot of games have that. I mean, when you think about how much Microsoft is pushing for independent developers to have access to Kinect and Smart Glass and the cloud saving stuff, there are 300,000 servers of holy shit data. That means that even 3 developers who make a pretty small game could have a companion app. That's not bad. So this sort of goes long-standing with my opinion that Microsoft is much more ready for the future than people are giving them credit. But it's all up to everyone, consumers included, to define what really makes the next generation. What I've just described is what I think is going to help define the generation, but everything's going to be a part of it, and everyone's gonna have a say in it. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this video as an interesting peek into next generation, because this is just theoretical stuff, right? I shall see y'all of you later.